Hello everyone, welcome to Reading with Reference today. My name is Kim Christopher. I'm a reference librarian here at the Haverford Township Free Library, and per as usual with our Reading with Reference, I'm here to share with you some reading recommendations. So, the first book I have here to recommend today to everyone is the graphic novel Sapiens, The Birth of Humankind, Volume 1 by Yuval Noah Harari, David Vandermeulen, and Daniel Casanov. And there's not much to say in terms of synopsis with this graphic novel, as it's an adaptation of a book that Harari originally released in 2011, also called Sapiens, that explores early human history. And everything throughout this graphic novel, it's presented in this sort of comically humorous art style that looks like something from the daily comics in the newspaper, the strips, or maybe a comic book from 50 or more years ago. And this is good in this case, and why I also recommend his read is it helps to convey to you as a reader just visually how complex of a subject early human history actually is, as he shows that even though we have all the artifacts left over from early human beings, we actually don't have any written texts or even oral narratives about how those people lived and died, or even what happened to the other 6 species of human beings that went extinct. Nothing. And another reason why I would recommend this as a read is in connection with that, is that in order to explain this argument of how early human history is essentially almost in a way historical fiction, as we're creating all sorts of theories about early human beings, Harari shows that it also involves delving into other seemingly unrelated academic and scientific subjects, like biology, theology, engineering, language, all sorts of subjects that help sort of build this narrative of early human beings. And yeah, so I would highly recommend this if you're a fan of history, or if you are a history major. It goes over a lot of historical facts and fiction. And also, if you wanted to learn a little bit, even just a little bit, about some academic or scientific subjects, as it does, like I said, delve into things like biology, theology, all those sorts of subjects. It is just an absolutely wonderful nonfiction graphic novel read, and I highly recommend it. And then, to move along here to the second recommendation I have today, the book The Poppy War by R.F. Kuan. And this is a fantasy novel where it's set in an alternate world in the Empire of Nicara, and young orphan Rin is entering into the prestigious military academy of Sinagard. And initially Rin, she's just, studying to be the next best politician, military leader, or soldier, and she doesn't care about anything else other than that. But then she finds out she has the potential to be a shaman, these long-forgotten line of individuals that had the ability to commune with the gods, and if needs be, summon them to the physical plane and use their powers. But unfortunately for Rin, as soon as she discovers this and starts training to become an actual shaman, war is declared, where the Federation of Mugen, a neighboring empire, declares war and invades Nicara, and Rin is now torn between the decision to either be a pacifist shaman, which they usually are, or to be a loyal citizen and soldier of the Empire and use her shamanistic powers to summon the gods and their powers and destroy all enemies of the Empire. But again, unfortunately, Rin finds out in the long run that either way, communing or using the gods' powers always comes at a terrible price. But yeah, so originally this was a debut novel from Kuan in 2018, but you don't have to be a fan of fantasy to love reading this book, and this is why I would recommend it. It is well written. Chapters are short enough that you're not left hanging, wondering, is that what they said? Is this what happened previously? Short enough chapters that you grasp everything that's going on, and then you can move on to the next chapter, next plot going on there. And also just that since Kuan takes inspiration from actual history, our world, Asian history in this case, you're able to envision as a reader just what the people look like, the clothes they wear, how they talk, the buildings they live in, the weapons, tools they use, everything about this fantasy world. It's easy for you as a reader to envision. And yeah, it is just a really, she created a really lush, beautiful fantasy world in this debut novel that it was in 2018. I personally am eager to keep on reading to find out what happens to Rin and just the decision she makes, because she, not to try and spoil anything, but she really does find out the terrible consequences that come with summoning the gods are beyond comprehension. And so, yeah, I highly recommend this, not as a fantasy read, but just as a great heck of a roller coaster ride of a book read. But yeah, Poppy War, R.F. Kuan. And finally, here, finishing up, the last recommendation I have today is Giant Days by John Allison, Lisa Tremin, and Whitney Kogar. So this is just a story about college life. It follows the three friends, Susan, Esther, and Daisy, who make this unlikely trio. Originally, they were just, roommates assigned it randomly, but then they become the best of friends, forming unbreakable bonds. And the stories throughout Giant Days just follows the college life and the friendship these three girls share with each other. And why I would recommend this as a read is just because of that college life. It just is really nostalgic. It shows you the ups and downs of college life, all the hardships, even has some of the characters getting sick with the flu and shows how what that involves, and just, yeah. So if you ever felt nostalgic about college life, or if you just felt like you missed something in it, or just want to be remembering something about it, then yeah, I highly recommend Giant Days as a read. It is a beautifully humorous story about college life again. All right, and that is everything I can say about my recommendations without spoiling too much about some of the things. And until we see each other again in 3 weeks again, or if you're watching our next Reading with Reference video next Tuesday at 4 p.m., please know that the library is closed, but we are doing our contactless curbside pickup, where we're open our regular hours from Monday through Wednesday, 10 to 8, Thursday, 10 to 6, and Friday, Saturday, 10 to 5. You just need to either request items on the library website, haverfordlibrary.org, on the request form under contactless pickup, or you can just request items right regular. We'll give you a notification when they're ready for you to come pick up. Just come up to the front door, give your first and last name, we'll grab the items for you, check them out to you, and you can grab them and go. And if you have any questions about this process, or just any questions in general, please do give us a call at either 610-446-3056, or you can email the reference department at reference@haverfordlibrary.org, and we'll answer any questions you have. And until we see each other again, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day and take care.